All right. Hello and welcome to today's episode. We're going to talk about what it means to really achieve true change in 2025. And so, if you've been a part of this show or you've listened or seen this for any length of time, you know we talk a lot about change. And one of the things that happens around the new year is everyone makes these declarations to themselves where they say, hey, I'm going to make this kind of change in my life. And I don't know for you, but I know for many people, and myself included, there's been several times where I've started the new year off and I said, I'm going to change this and change that, and I'm going to get to this weight, or I'm going to, travel more this year. And it just never happens, right? I get caught up and I get busy, and then I fall back into old patterns, and I might start off strong for a few weeks and then it kind of fizzles out. And it's statistically shown across the board that most people fall off their New Year's resolutions before the month of February hits. Now, why does that happen? Well, part of, I think, probably the problem is that a lot of people make very aggressive goals that seem insurmountable and they get overwhelmed and quit. Another problem is that people try to maintain the same identities and beliefs and perceptions and ultimately change something in their environment. And what you don't understand if you're working that way is that your environment is something that you perceive. It's not as it is, right? You see your environment as you are. So if you believe, for instance, let's say that it's hard to lose weight, you're going to make that your reality, right? Every food in front of you is going to look like an obstacle of you losing weight. Every time there's always going to be some reason why it's hard to go to the gym. Everything's going to look hard to you because you believe it's hard to lose weight. Or if you have the identity of someone who's not healthy, it's going to be very hard for you to live in opposition to that, because your concept of yourself, your identities, your beliefs, your whole energy, really the emotional kind of level that you operate in, what you do is you project that out onto your environment and you see that in your reality. You see confirmation of it. So a much more permanent way to initiate change in your life is to, instead of working on your environment and putting effort on to try to change something outside of you, is to begin to work within yourself and to say, hey, look, are there certain beliefs and stories that I maintain that I just keep telling myself that don't serve me? Are there certain identities I've adopted that are not true, that I don't want to carry anymore? What's my overall energy state? What's my overall feeling state? How do I let go of some of the negative emotions that I've carried for a long time? And how do I increase my energy and bring myself into a positive state where I have access to more energy so I can actually implement it into what I want to change in my life? And this is what transformation really is about. When you want to make change in your life, is working inward, not inward outward, not outward inward, right? Not thinking that once I change my reality outside of myself, once I change something about myself, then I'll feel a certain way. It's actually cultivating all of the inner work and then that just reflecting in your environment. And that's what true change is about. That's how I've seen changes in my life occur, and changes that would stay with time. And when it comes to OCD and anxiety, mental health, chronic pain, right, panic attacks, whatever relationship you have with OCD and anxiety, what you have to understand is, if your goal is to improve your mental health and improve your overall emotional state and become someone who is mentally, emotionally, spiritually healthy, if you have been engaging in certain patterns to this point and they haven't produced the results that you're really looking for, it's not a matter of engaging in those patterns more or putting more effort into them or willing your way to this. What it's about is about really doing the inner work of changing yourself, changing your concept of yourself, changing the beliefs that you bring into this, right? Like things like OCD and anxiety is a chronic condition. That's a belief, right? Is fear a normal human emotion? Sure. Are you going to experience from time to time in life? Yeah. Is it something that you have to experience on an ongoing basis? Absolutely not. In fact, it's anxiety itself is not even a disorder. It's our resistance to anxiety that actually makes it a disorder. It's the belief that we're not supposed to experience it, and then our resistance to it that then creates the pressure in the system that makes it so prevalent and so intense that people ultimately spend their entire lives trying to get rid of it or hiding from it. That's what happens. So if you maintain the belief, though, that OCD and anxiety is let's say a genetic condition that you just got, right? And that it's chronic and you're going to have it forever. Well, if you have those beliefs, it's probably not a lot of incentive to try to make any changes. In fact, what you should probably try, what you're probably going to do is try to change everyone else to accommodate you. That's what that belief would then set in motion. Whereas if you chose to set the belief in motion of saying, well, wait, so there are people who have recovered from this. There are people who have gone from a place where they're living completely in fear, completely in the OCD and anxiety loop, where it's overtaken every aspect of their life, and they've actually gotten to the point where they don't live in a chronic state of fear. They live in a state where their parasympathetic nervous system, they're restful, they're peaceful, they're in the states of love and joy. They're bringing relationships into their life. They're doing work they love doing. And they've had these kind of transformations, right? And there's countless examples of that. And I'm going to throw myself in there as someone who's had that kind of transformation. Where if you saw me when I was, 18, 19 years old, lost in the wheel of OCD and anxiety, like who I am today is a totally different person than that. I don't identify as someone who has OCD and anxiety. That's not part of my concept. Does that mean that I never experience fear? No, fear is a normal human emotion, but I know how to experience fear is the better real way to understand that. I know how to experience it in a way where it runs its course and passes in a healthy way, authentic way. I don't fear the emotion of fear. I don't fear any of my emotions for that matter. And that is a true shift in self-mastery as opposed to trying to just change some effect or symptom that we don't like or in self-transformation. And this is really, when it comes to 2025, if you're looking to make that kind of change in your life, then I would really encourage you to fill out an application to work with me and my team, because this is the kind of transformation that we help people with. This is what the program's about. When I work with someone one-on-one, this is really the level that we work at. We don't just throw some tools on top of your current beliefs and identities and all this stuff and say, oh, try these tools and work really, really hard, because that's not how change happens. It's not really about hard work. It's, yes, there may be hard work at times, but you have to do the right hard work. And the hard work is often internal, not the external. We often hide in the external to distract ourselves and convince ourselves that we're working really hard and we're putting forth all our effort and we're trying, so, we can't be blamed. When really, if we're honest, we know we're doing it as a distraction. We know, and we're maintaining that victimhood mindset. And in 2025, if you're really serious about making that kind of transformation and that kind of change in your life, then yeah, I definitely would encourage you to complete an application and work with me and my team in TBC, because that's what we're about. And especially this year, if you're someone who's struggled with OCD and anxiety for a long period of time and you're at a point where you're really ready to have this the year be the year in your time here on earth that things literally changed, that the trajectory of your life changed, because this was the year you decided to say, enough's enough. I'm not doing that. And you don't need to do it on January 1st. You can do it actually whenever you're watching or listening to this. You can decide that enough's enough. I've given enough time. I've given enough attention. I've given enough energy. I've lost enough opportunities, relationships, resources, time, whatever you want to this, because I've been running from this and I've been trying to push this down. And it's time for me to say, you know what? I'm going to transform into someone who this doesn't impact anymore. And you have that capacity and ability, because I've seen countless people do this. And if that's where you are, that's what I want to extend the invitation to today. And I wanted to make this because I just felt inspired to really speak my truth, what I believe to be true, to the depth of my being, that your transformation is absolutely achievable. And it doesn't come from you working all outside of yourself and learning all these, and exerting all your energy into trying to change your environment. That is exhausting and that gets you nowhere. It comes from the inner transformation that I've talked about in this. The work to go within and say, I'm going to let go of these beliefs, these identities. I'm going to let go of these emotions. I'm going to shift into the person who is recovered. I'm not going to do it out in the future somewhere. I'm going to make it a present reality, and my reality will then unfold in that way. Completely different way of working at it. And yes, it's not something that just happens in a blink of an eye, but it's work that sustains. It's change that sustains. And if that's what you're looking for, then that's what we're about. And I wanted to really talk about that from this perspective today, because this is the time where a lot of people are open to changing. And if that's you, then click the link in the description or head over to Restored Minds and complete an application. With that, I wish you an amazing 2025. Hope this served you. I hope this helped you. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Hey there. So if you enjoyed that video, we've linked up a few more videos that we think you'd find helpful as well. And if you have found this helpful, we'd really appreciate your support by liking and subscribing. And if you're looking for help and guidance, please check out restoredminds.com, as we have several options for you to get started. See you guys soon.